What is up, YouTube, Twitter, whoever else sees this? So we're going to continue talking about the Incest twins, Drake and Silas. Now, a lot of people are saying I'm a bad person because I made fun of them for their drug use, and they have been through a lot growing up. You had rich parents that are still very supportive. Okay, let me just break this down to you guys. Drake Vaughn and Silas, they both have children of their own that they never talk to, that they don't send money to, they completely ignore. Okay, that's beside the point. Okay, I'm going to pull this up on the screen as well because this is a law here in Vegas and in most states around the world. Drake Vaughn and Silas have already admitted to doing stuff when they were younger. They admitted this on a podcast, which I'm sure is going to be taken down, so go look for it. It's all over TikTok. They admitted to this stuff, to doing it when they were younger. Okay? You have to register for that. You just admitted it. That is literally being a pedophile. You have to register as a sex offender for sleeping with your brother, especially you guys were both younger, underage. I don't know how dumb people can be when they go on a podcast to share their life. Like, that is horrible. That's 15 years in prison for both of you. You can't do that. In your guys' OnlyFans message, whether you did it or not, in the message, it says that you guys are sucking each other off. Where do you think that's okay? What law in what state says that that's okay? I mean, you guys make so much money on OnlyFans that they're fighting it right now. They're saying, no, we allow brothers on camera as long as they're not doing anything sexual, even though they're promoting sexual content. They promoted it. You know, if I type a message to someone, I can't even mention the word brother or family. How come I can't message it, but they can do it? That doesn't seem right. That's why in the message, it doesn't say, hey, I'm live with my brother. It says, hey, I'm live with Drake, or I'm live with Silas. They don't mention family, and there's a reason for that. OnlyFans flags them, but when I go to support about this because they make millions of dollars a year, OnlyFans says it's okay, and then they point me towards their acceptable terms policy, which I've read. Clearly states incest is not okay. You can't have family on film. Doesn't matter if they're clothed or not. I stand corrected. If you have a non-nude OnlyFans, you can have whoever you want on there. OnlyFans doesn't have to be an 18-plus app. It does not. You can have cooking shows on here. Fully clothed. So there is exceptions. Their accounts are not those exceptions. Their accounts are felonies. Their accounts are enough for the federal government to shut OnlyFans down. What do you think Visa and MasterCard's going to do when they find out about this? It's not going to be good. You know, Drake and Silas are ruining OnlyFans, and people like them are ruining porn and the progression we're going in. You know, we're supposed to be going upwards in progression, not downwards. We're not supposed to be selling underage porn like Sophie Rain was. You know, she signed with Bop House at 17, and she sold her videos from when she was like 15 and 14 on OnlyFans. Why is that okay? That shouldn't be allowed. You know, those videos have timestamps on them, and OnlyFans fucking knows damn well when they were filmed. They know damn well when her date of birth is. Just because she's over 18 doesn't mean that's overage porn. She still filmed it when she was 15 years old. But, you know, and Sophie Rain, she's making this big... She's doing so good that... and bragging about it so much, Florida's going to start taxing porn stars 50%, called sin tax. Gee, thanks for ruining it for everyone just because you want to gloat about how much you make. Oh, I make more than basketball players. I make more than LeBron James. Yeah. Yeah, Floyd Mayweather, I think it was. He lost $1 billion. He's bankrupt. So you have fun with your masturbation money, your underage porn money. Because it won't last long. I mean, you're obviously not that smart. Just like Drake and Silas, you know? Silas has made $2.5 million on his OnlyFans. And they're so desperate for money, they have to promote incest and scam their fans? Where's the logic there? How does that happen? How are you in such need for money that you need to promote incest after you haven't talked to your brother in 10 years? Yeah, it might be a little bit different if they had been best friends this whole time and like really close, attached at the hip. You know, maybe we could have seen something like this coming. But no, they haven't talked to each other in 10 years. They destroyed their family. They didn't show up for Thanksgiving, Christmases, and when they did, it was just a shit show. They literally destroyed their family. Not only that, but their other family, because they both have children that they never talk to, never see, never send money to, don't support. You know, Drake and Silas didn't use drugs when they were younger. That didn't start until they filmed with Helix. Helix Studios, you know, the little twink studio. That dude's a cocksucker. He makes a lot of people do drugs. A lot. I know, because I lived with the Helix model. I know the stories, you know. Rest in peace to the guy he overdosed, allegedly. You know, they didn't. How come I'm the bad guy for saying that they do drugs? Drugs aren't a good thing. They didn't have crappy lives. They still don't have crappy lives. They have no reason to do so much coke and ketamine that they lose 20 pounds a day. Those boys are 60 pounds soaking wet. Like, they're not doing good things with their lives. They weren't back when I filmed with them. You know, I told Drake Vaughn he was going to kill himself because he was doing so much drugs. And he's just like, no, man, I'll be okay. You know, when I filmed with him, he was so high, his dick didn't even work. Not at all. Not even with the injections that we use that keeps you hard for hours. You know, that's why I did my whole drug video yesterday about we have a major drug problem in the industry. Because if you're on set and you're filming with someone that has to speak and has lines that they have to mention and memorize, and they go do ketamine and they come out halfway in a K-hole, where am I? But here's the messed up thing. They do it again and again and again. After that high wears off and they can start to film again, they go do more. You know, porn scenes take up to 12 to 16 hours to film. That's not fun for the models. When I film OnlyFans or when I hold camera for other people, you know, and these accounts that I manage make 30 plus grand a month. Okay, those videos shouldn't take more than 20 minutes, start to finish. Why are studio scenes taking 6, 12, 18 hours to film? You know, that's a long time to be on camera. Stay horny, stay in the mood, all because we have to wait for someone that's on drugs. You know, studio scenes don't take that long if you're not on drugs or you're not brand new. You know, and one of the biggest problems in the industry is if you want to film with someone, they might not show up. There's like an 80% cancellation rate in the industry. And that's because everyone thinks it's okay to do drugs. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? Ooh, let's party like it's the 70s. Yay. When do things change? When do laws and regulations get put into place so that porn is taken seriously? You know, it's the only $1 trillion industry in the whole world that doesn't drug test people. It doesn't keep track of money. It doesn't tax people. What it does now, OnlyFans, because there's a way to do it, or Pornhub, but I mean, the escorting, everything like that, there's so much that's just illegal and wrong, and it can all be fixed. Yeah, you'll lose a little bit of money. Money's not the only thing. You know, Drake Vaughn, Silas, I hope you hear this. Money's not worth it. You guys are going to end up in prison for this. You will. So, I mean, take what you want from it, but drugs are bad, okay? And I'm not the bad person for saying that. You know, I was a drug addict myself. I've been clean for almost 15 years. I do porn. You know, I had someone bring up a comment that only drug addicts do adult films, so why am I making fun of them? Huh? This is $1 trillion a year industry. This isn't a sorrow job. This isn't something you do when no one else will hire you. People are making $20,000, $30,000 a month doing this job. You know, it's not the industry's fault that the people don't take it seriously. You know, the 90% of people that don't take it seriously, those are the people that don't need to be here. They do it. They literally do OnlyFans just to get high on drugs with the money. It's all extra money for drugs. Yeah, they might use it to support and pay their bills, but they're also using it for drugs. And then you have the 1% that are making $1 million a year on it and they're not doing drugs. Then you have people like Drake and Silas that are doing drugs making millions. Like, it just... If OnlyFans would drug test for drugs that weren't prescribed or weren't legal, this would be a whole different ball game. Whole different ball game. Same with studios. You know, I feel like they need to start implicating drug tests, especially for studio scenes. You know, if I go film with someone on a studio set and they die, I don't want to get charged with murder because they overdosed on set after saying on camera that they weren't high when they walked in the door and they didn't bring drugs. That doesn't look good on us. You know, I'm getting ready to start my own studios. Where's the protection from that? People coming in and overdosing on set. You want to know why so many porn stars end up in dumpsters? That's why. They get thrown in there after they're overdosed. And with that, I thank you.